streaming live to my channels now that we're 30 minutes in.
Excellent.
And I forgot I even had channels.
Fancy.
It's all good. It's all good. It's a risk tonight because, like I said, I already dropped the C word, COVID. So that's a good way to get the video
and I
blocked
started
for
talking
good.
about Hunter Biden
I was like,
right away.
no, you didn't. I'm glad you clarified. I was like, when? I would have recorded that and
You were
kept
thinking
it.
something else. You were thinking something else. So Doc, we started the show off with both your videos, the First World little jingle, and then the Not From Disney one, because it's very fitting. Not from Disney. They fucked around and they got caught. It's like, yep, pretty much.
Fucked around and found out.
The First World is the embodiment of conspiracy theories in a comic book. If you take Comicsgate, Saturday Night Live, a little bit of South Park, and you wrap it in a comic book, you're going to get First World. It's where nothing makes sense, and men are women, and bugs are for dinner.
Which is happening.
Unfortunately, you are more than correct. We have our first real live supervillain. Has anybody actually ever paid attention to this? If you were to go ahead and describe a supervillain, let's go ahead and take turns. Describe a supervillain. Somebody go first.
All right, let's see. A supervillain.
Jewish.
Somebody. Jewish? What?
Yeah, we're picking
How
up.
many supervillains are Jewish?
Magneto, bro.
All right, Magneto, but name five
Like the
more.
baddest ass supervillain there is. Magneto.
Is he a supervillain, or is he more of like a super
trying to get us
antagonist?
canceled.
We're
getting canceled.
You're gonna have to give me the screen. Okay,
It's
go
not,
ahead and
it's
share
not
mine.
hate.
May I introduce Klaus Schwab?
Yeah, go for it. I'll pop it on.
If you could ever, see a supervillain, would it not be this guy?
Let's see, a rich bald white guy. Yeah, probably.
That looks old Lex Luthor right there.
Oh no!
Aging Lex Luthor.
It gets so much worse than that. Have you ever heard him speak?
I don't know who this is. No, I'm not familiar with this dude.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Just keep that screen up there. I'm gonna play some fuckery now. Because this is R-rated, right? Can you pause the audio so I can play this?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Or will it play over the audio? I'm not sure how that works.
I think it'll play over.
All right, let's try.
So we'll still be able to talk, but yeah.
Only in a virtual way. I would like to express my
What would a
high
supervillain
respect
sound like?
to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum for having taken the initiative for creating such an important global platform for governance.
The World Economic Forum. So the world controls money. That's what I hear.
Dubai,
the world needing to
having
control money in
organized
Dubai of all
such
places.
a successful world extent and the systemic and structural changes which will happen.
What would a supervillain sound like? Come on, people.
Yeah,
okay, I'm done. I will step firmly off of my platform.
No, it's good. It's good. I was just on mine for a while, so it's fine. Whoop, where'd Shane go?
I think we lost him.
He'll be back. He has admin's power, so he'll just pop right back in when he's ready.
That works. So what else are we going to talk about tonight besides First World?
Well, it's all kind of related to a lot of the content in First World, honestly. But
it all intertwines and wiggles together.
Well, I was talking about COVID earlier. I want to finally play this video. I've had it on here for a while. I just never got a chance to play it. So I'm gonna play this video for everyone and see what we think about it.
Pfizer ultimately is thinking about mutating COVID.
Well, that is not what we say to the public. No, don't tell anyone this. You probably shouldn't tell anyone. You probably shouldn't tell anyone. Okay? You know the virus keeps mutating?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we're exploring is why don't we just mutate it ourselves so we can create develop do vaccines, right? So we have to do that. If we're going to do that, though, there's a risk of, like, as you could imagine, no one wants to be having a pharma company mutating viruses. Be like very controlled to make sure that this virus that you mutate doesn't create something like, it goes everywhere.
Something crazy.
Is the way that the virus started in Wuhan. To be honest, like it makes no sense that this virus popped out of nowhere. Like,
yeah, I know.
Meet Jordan Tristan Walker, a director of research and development strategic operations and mRNA scientific planning at Pfizer.
Well, you're not supposed to do gain function research with the viruses, like they recommend not. But you do like these like selected directional mutations to try to see if you can make more potent.
Yeah.
So there is research ongoing about that. I don't know how that's gonna work. There might not be any more outbreaks, because like Jesus Christ.
The gentleman seems to have absolutely no moral compass at all.
A revolving door for all government officials. It's pretty good for the industry, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's bad for everyone else in America.
If this is the quality of individuals within Pfizer that are making these huge decisions that risk global public health, it's profoundly corrupt.
It is absolutely crazy. It's beyond profoundly corrupt. This is what the globalist elite are trying to convince us is not a problem.
Absolutely.
And it's absolute madness. The fuckery has gone along way too long. But how deep into conspiracies are we going to go, and what do we want to talk about? Do we have any kind of a map to go off of? Because I have conspiracies coming out of my ears. We can talk about any of them.
Pretty much anything goes, I say that majority of conspiracy theories that have come out in the last couple of years have pretty much turned out to be 100% true. Within reason, there are some really out there ones, right? But, like the simulation thing, I don't know. There's no way to prove that, I guess, but I don't believe it myself.
Mathematically speaking, the simulation theory makes sense.
Right. I guess so.
My dog decided that there was somebody that needed to be scared away.
Yeah, my dog does that. Like I said, we live in apartments, so anytime someone walks by the door, rah, 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 rah.
I got quite a bit of stretch to this guy, don't I?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Need to call him fantastic, fantastic above average Joe. Mr. Above
Fantastic
Average
Joe. Mr. Above Average Joe. There we go.
This is rocking it. I think this is going to be cool. This avatar is going to work out very good. I think we might need to start doing a little bit more live streams with the avatar. And I might need to create a few more avatars. I think Auntie Samantha needs to have her avatar next.
Oh, definitely, right?
Well, that, and I'm also working on a new character. Have you ever seen the character Found Fathers?
Yes,
I'd probably have shown him to you, but yeah, he's the Appalachian Red.
Yeah, you probably did, yeah.
The founding fathers of America. So it's a
you
old white guy with overalls with ghosts following him everywhere. I want to animate him.
Yes.
And then I want to do like a karaoke theme with him, where he starts singing some of these, just some of my songs I like, or something that might be relevant, and the ghosts kind of pop up in the background and assist him as the choir or the assist vocals.
Oh man, yeah, that
Now that I got Above Average
awesome.
Joe going, I can actually do a song with this guy.
And since you can since you can make the eye blink by itself, you could probably make the ghosts like kind of move separate of him as well.
Yeah, I can go ahead and add the ghost in as triggers. We can actually go ahead and I can digitally sync other webcams to my webcam, and you can control one ghost, somebody else can control one ghost, and everybody can be controlled by different people, all sung together by webcam.
Hey, we got Jem in the house. What's going on, brother?
Hey, man. Sorry about all of that.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. We had Shane. He got a phone call, so he's dropped for a moment. And Doc's here now, so yeah, man. I just played the Veritas video where the guy from Pfizer admits that they're mutating the virus on purpose.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at conspiracy wise right now.
Reasons. Neostar
Yep.
Productions actually had a good comic coming. At the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to supervillains are crime bosses, robbers, and con artists, which are unironically a lot of notable current year politicians.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said before, Biden is intentionally ruining the economy. I mean, it's not just Biden, right? I mean, there's been politicians in there for years that have been allowing the debt ceiling to go so high. Something I found out about economics the other day, Jordan Peterson was doing an interview with Robert Schiff, who was the guy who predicted the 2008 downfall. And they basically said that the government uses inflation to pay its debt. So that's why they're always like, oh, we need to have at least 2% inflation. And so that's why that's there, because if they don't have that inflation, they're not paying their bills, basically.
What is our current national debt? Let me look that up real quick.
Like 31 trillion, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty high trillion.
Ridiculous. Let me see.
Ridiculous.
$31.5 trillion. Okay, let's go ahead and take that number into consideration, because I happen to like math and numbers and reasons and things. So 31 trillion. Okay, so 1 second. It takes 1 second to make up 60 seconds to make up 1 minute. Right? It takes 60 minutes to make up 1 hour. Well,
yep.
What would 1 second comparative to trillions? So if you have 1 trillion seconds, just one, not, what is it, 35 million?
Yeah.
Not 31.5 trillion, just 1 trillion.
Just 1 trillion.
Would equal out to 30,000 years about.
Wow. Yeah, so get that, right?
Just wrap that number around your head. Our country's in debt by 31.5 of 30,000 years.
Yeah, so you're talking more like 90 million years, something like that. It's a ridiculous.
Say the secret word.
Ridiculous.
It's a number of debt. It's crazy. To find that clip, I had to find it from Family Guy because I couldn't find it from Pee Wee Herman.
What's going on, Shane? You back?
Hey, Shane's back. And we got Jem in the house now, Shane.
Hey, Shane.
Are you there?
Or we can just stop giving billions of dollars to other countries. Might help us a little bit better.
But then how would we? But then how would we go ahead and tell them what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing?
Yep.
I mean, we can just not.
Oh, absolutely correct. I actually just got in trouble, Neostar, for that exact same comment, because I was ballsy enough to send a letter to my legislator asking about what the difference between taxation and extortion is. Could they please explain it to me outside of being a government official? And just to make sure they understood what I meant by extortion, I went ahead and CC'd in the email the Webster's definition and a link so that they made sure I wasn't making it up.
Wow.
I'm that guy.
And let me guess, they sent some men in black suits to your door?
Oh, hell no, not yet. Where I live, that ain't gonna go over well here. Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sure you've got some guns on you. I need to get mine out of capacity.
I would never use the pew-pew-pews.
Oh, no?
No. No.
Fair enough.
Hold on, I got a video.
Pew-pews.
Hold on, let me find a video. Where would I put it? I know I have it on Facebook, so I'll just find it on Facebook. How do I do this?
Yeah, I mean, Peter Griffin, Family Guy was good the first 4 seasons, and then it really went downhill because they just put their liberal politics into it.
I'm looking for it, guys. I promise.
Take your time.
It's all good. Yep.
Ah, here it is. All right, hold on. Damn it, how do I do this?
Yep.
Exit full screen. How do you do it? That's how you do it. I'm figuring it out. I'm getting there. I'm old. Keep in mind, I'm.
And he's got 9 computers and 18 things going on at once, and 4 monitors.
See how many goddamn tabs I have open. It's ridiculous.
to get that puppet to work, you have to have a lot open.
That's okay. My computer can handle it. It'll be okay. Where did it at?
That's
Where
good.
Did you go?
He's an operator of the Matrix.
You're a window. Why is it not in the window? There it is. It's in the nope. Window.
Yeah, and Jem, I opened the show with that a little bit of Weird Al's Foil, where he talks about the Illuminati and everything. Just basically the end of the song, and it's like, yeah, how fitting. And it's like I was saying earlier that I didn't appreciate that song until like last year, when it all started coming true. Well, the sad thing is, it was always coming true. It's just my eyes have not been open to it till last year.
Yeah. Well, like I said on the last stream, Idiocracy, the movie, is coming true now too.
Yeah.
You heard the
Crocs,
story about the
man.
Crocs,
I saw
right?
that video you showed me.
Yeah. Crocs, this is ridiculous.
Crocs were the stupid shoes.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't popular when that movie came out, and that was like the shoes that everybody was wearing that were dumb. That was like the footwear of the stupid person. so Idiocracy, man. What an interesting.
Awesome
it is. It's an awesome movie, an interesting concept. It's somewhat wrong because just because you have smart people mating doesn't mean that they're going to have smart babies. But the premise is fine by itself, nonetheless. Just because, I mean, here we are, right, with a lot of stupidness, and like I said before, we're divided and we're distracted by nonsense, and it's dumbing us down. And I've noticed this now that I have kids. It's really hard to not notice that the schools really aren't educating our kids. Like, I homeschooled my daughter last year, and I swear she learned way more from me. And I didn't even go that hard. I'm lazy.
I use my kids to educate.
I didn't even go that hard, and I swear she still learned more from me than she is this year.
Mm-hmm.
I go ahead and just over-educate my children. I use them to go ahead and push the education on the other children at school because, the opinions matter. And yeah. Call me in for parent-teacher conference. Most teachers and principals only do that once or twice.
Yep.
I have a tendency to be able to take what people say and twist it into nice little sharp, pointy things and spit it back at them. By the way, I got a video. You want to watch this one?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's go for it. All right, let's see. There it is. See, it doesn't tell me there's a video. There we go. All right. I'm gonna turn that music off.
Crazy.
Man. There we go. Have a nice day.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart. Yeah, that's what they say to pretty much mean F you, right?
Yeah, that's Southern slang for oh my God, bless your heart. Just fuck off. Or the best one.
Right.
If you're not from the South, this one will get you every time, is a sweet summer child. Oh, sweet summer child. Let me just explain this to you one more time.
Summer child.
Oh, sweet summer child, I'm calling you an idiot. You are so dumb that you must have been born in summertime, child, because, oh my God, oh, sweet summer child, come here. Sorry, we got off of conspiracies onto slandering. But anyways, that was fun.
That's fine. Like I said, it's anything goes tonight. So
Who's G3M?
So this is Jem. Shane apparently has another phone call, so he'll be back eventually.
Popular man.
So Jem is a friend of mine. I know him from work. Won't say where we work or anything like that. But
of course not. Salt mines.
He's
we all
a friend
work
of
in
mine,
the salt
and
mines. We go there every night. And we bleed and we sweat blood for our bosses.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes, we do.
And he opened my eyes this year to some things. So the wool had been ripped off my eyes again after talking to him for a little bit about how they treat black people in the media, and how pretty much if you see a black man on TV, he's most likely gay. And I'm just like, oh my God, you're right.
I haven't thought about that, but you might be right.
Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I just heard some scuttlebutt that Will Smith just came out as being gay or something.
Oh geez, I hope
Oh
not.
Man, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
I had a whole lot of respect for that man all the way up until he stepped up on the stage and slapped Chris Rock.
The slap heard around the world.
Yeah, nah.
You got to understand that was a setup situation there. That was
absolutely.
That's a humiliation ritual. So, you got to think about it really hard on how this man had the most perfect career, and then just out of nowhere, let me just destroy myself on not to be racist, but a Caucasian platform, pretty much. Because no one really cares about the Oscars or anything.
Right. That was the only time anyone actually cared about the Oscars.
Well, they were having the lowest ratings in years until something like that happened. And now all of a sudden,
exactly.
They were talking about them, and they were doing the replays. And oh my God, a tragedy actually worked.
Just think about this. That's the first year they ever had a black director and black writer script for the show. And then they send 2 black people up there to go and have a confrontation.
Yep.
And then
it was like if Jerry Springer actually directed it instead, right?
right. And then they had there's old school clips of a reenactment before this, like years ago, of something like this being pulled from a movie scene. I can't find it right now, but it's literally like it's a scene where that exactly situation happened, so they reenacted it. But then the world just like, oh my God, he slapped Chris Rock, so they ran with the narrative, and now it's a narrative that looks like it's damaging his career. And then what?
Oh yeah, it was gonna damage his career. Who thought it wouldn't?
Well, look at. See, that's the image. That's the beauty of the image. Because what happened right after that? The next movie he gets cast in is a slave movie.
Yep. It's not a coincidence. Not a coincidence at all.
I love my new avatar. I can carry the computer outside and smoke a cigarette, and I still look like I'm just bouncing around and all Mr. Stretch and shit.
Guess we're not getting a Madagascar 4. Probably not, but who knows? Just never know with Hollywood.
I don't know, with this writer strike, we all might be getting a lot more work. We should start petitioning Hollywood to, hey, I'm not in the union. I'll write some shit for you.
Yeah.
Sure. How about First World? You want to have some fun? Let's go ahead and just look at First World. It's like an almanac of the fucked up things that's happened ever since 2016.
You sure you want to
know? No, see, Hollywood would not like First World. Hollywood would not like First World because
I think First World needs to definitely be an animation. Once I get done playing in the comic books and getting the comic books out, maybe by volume 2 or volume 3, like by the time we're making fun of 2018 or getting ready for COVID, because I've already got the whole storyline set up for COVID. And
excellent.
Supposedly this character is the one that I might actually get sued for the most, because the character's name is Caged Nick. And Caged Nick lives in the Hollywood corner, and he's just Hollywood's go-to guy for any propaganda film that they want to make, and they're going to have to make the Man-Bat movie, right? And they've got to go all over the world to make this Man-Bat movie, and so they might voluntarily inject the main actor with a pathogen that he can spread all over the world in order to serve the Pope's dire desire and will to rule the timeline. Satire. It's satire only, people. This is fiction. I'm not telling the stories of the cabal.
Or are we conspiracy or facts?
Well, the only difference nowadays is about 6 months.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very true. 6 months. That's a math equation. What's the difference between conspiracy and fact? 6 months.
Well, we just decided on the back cover of issue 2, we're going to have to give tinfoil hat folding instructions.
Oh, love it. I love it. I love it.
Are you familiar with First World? Is it Jim? Is that your name?
Jim.
Oh, it is Jim. Okay, so at least I got that right.
Jim. Yeah. I showed him a little bit of it. I've forgotten to send the PDF to him, but yeah, I did tell him about it, and he was like, "Oh man, right up his alley for sure."
I just went ahead and posted the video and a nice little write up on comicsgate.org. So they're being very receptive and gracious to me.
Excellent. Oh man. So it's actually interesting. Jem had mentioned that was a like initiation kind of thing, right? I've actually in my rabbit hole digging, there's actually some really crazy shit that goes on in Hollywood. We all knew that for a while, but basically a lot of these especially elite Hollywood actors have basically like sold their souls to Satan for the fame and fortune.
For the fame and fortune,
yeah. And like they're literally all Satanists. They literally all worship the devil. It's crazy.
That's
not
a
only
character
that,
I haven't made
and there's the music
yet. I don't have a Satan character.
Yeah, there you go. You have to.
I have Devil's Advocate, but I don't have the devil.
You gotta make them, man. You gotta make them.
Sorry,
and, make him like this. Make him like this Monopoly guy looking character, the devil.
Okay, now spitballing here and changing the subject slightly from the devil, but just not too terribly far. Have you heard of this adrenochrome and how it works and the keeping of them young and where they get it from? You see, would it be too far if I were to draw maybe an image of Pope sitting in his hat, watching his corona visor with a straw coming out of a baby's head as he's sucking on it? Would that be a bit too far?
It would not be too far because it's exactly what's going on. It would not be too far. I mean, it would probably be too far for people who are not aware of what's going on. They'd probably be like, "What the fudge does that?" But as far as like the content, no, that's not going too far at all because it hits it on the nose, man. It hits it right on the nose, And then you also have the music industry, which is similar. They're even devil worshippers, but you have a lot of these like famous rappers that basically, to be initiated into like the rap world, they basically had to be gay. They basically had to take it in the ass from another elite rapper,
like P. Diddy or something.
It's like, yeah, like right, like I forget who it was because I'm not really up to date, or I just don't really know that world very well. So I don't remember who it was. Birdman, I think it was. He had to take it in the ass from someone, but something like that. But yeah, it's crazy, man. And that's why when I said in the beginning of this whole thing, like all of it is related. The trans and gay nonsense, the COVID-19, critical race theory, the economy, like it's all interconnected. These aren't separate issues. This is all one issue, and that's elitists gunning for power and the destruction of normality and the destruction of the American way,
food for
or the Western way, really. And that's why First World is so relevant to this video, to this stream.
That's why I felt I had to be on here, because yes, First World is going to take every one of these conspiracy theories that I can find and weave into a cohesive thought, at least, because some of the conspiracy theories are just way beyond cohesive thoughts. Some of them are actually very engaging and needs to be looked into. But yes, we decided to take majority of all the conspiracy theories we can find and weave it into a nice little web and call it a comic book.
Yeah.
Jim, are you familiar with First World?
I'm a big fan.
He showed me some of your little things or your little panels or whatever like that.
I showed him the character guide.
Oh, gotcha.
I told him a little bit about the first episode. Yeah.
And I instantly was intrigued.
Have you seen the trailer for it yet?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I haven't ran the trailer on my streams yet. Can we play it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can play it. I have it on my thing too. I'll play both. I'll play the 20-second and the 1 minute.
All right, check this out, Jim. This is some videos I did for it.
Yeah.
First world, come in and take a seat. Pay us no attention, it's all conspiracy. We have satire and parody, some funny, some perverse. If none of it's offensive to you, you'd be the first.
Not from Disney. One of one doctors recommend. A good writer. A Blackman art. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fucking obvious theory. They fucked around. We found out. All fun and games. Until the monkey dies. Welcome to First World.
I love how Harambe is the catalyst to all our problems.
Well, that's what all the dark internet has been telling me for a while. That's a conspiracy theory all in itself. That is the butterfly effect that caused us to go down the dark track, and that's why everything's as fucked up as it is because we killed the monkey.
Yeah, and there's the crowdfunding campaign going on right now as well. The second issue is called the Opinionoid Crisis.
I haven't launched it yet.
I'm sorry, not going on right now, but you're able to sign up for it.
As soon as I get to 10 followers, I will launch it. I'm ready to go. I'm fixing to send it to print next week just because I need copies for Fanboy. We're going to be coming to Fanboy Knoxville in July, the first week of July.
Excellent. Yeah, so it's called the Opinionoid Crisis episode 2. So it's awesome.
For Opinionoid Crisis. I think I need to go ahead and get some 6-foot cutouts of my characters. Can you imagine a cutout of
yes.
you could take pictures with?
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, that would be awesome. Or Mr. Mouseman or
Mr. Mouseman's
Anti-Sam.
Much bigger than 6 foot because
he'd have to be what you said. He's like 9 feet tall or something. He's crazy tall, right?
Crazy like that. I'm not entirely sure. I've gauged exactly how tall he is, but he towers over a full-size man, so he's got to be. He's pushing 7 foot.
Jeez.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just a big towering, just mouse of a man.
Mouse of a man. Oh gosh.
Prepare for the Walt Disney lawsuit.
Well, no, I was perfectly clear. This is not Disney. It has nothing to do with Disney. That's why I had to put that in the intro there, just to make sure people didn't confuse Mr. Mouseman for anything having to relate to Disney. It has absolutely nothing to do with Disney. And well, according to my First Amendment right as an American and under satire and parody law, it has nothing to do with Disney. That's fair use. It might look like Disney and remind people of Disney, but that's just because of fair use.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we get into the game.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that a lawsuit from Disney wouldn't actually give me some great publicity that I desperately need.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah. Definitely would.
I'm still waiting for Joe Rogan to get back a hold of me. I've went ahead and sent him a physical copy of all 3 issues of First World, all 3 variants of First World, issue 1. So I sent him the main cover, and of course I signed it for him with a nice little handwritten letter telling him how big of a fan I am, and I would love to share this concept and idea with him. And then I doubled down and I sent a copy to his agent of a different variant with the same letter asking his agent to give it to him. And then I tripled down on it and I sent it to his manager. So
excellent.
I might maybe hear back from him. So that would be cool.
Mm-hmm. That would be cool. That would be awesome.
But I'm not entirely sure if he would put his name on this. I might be going a bit too far. You know, the baby.
Yeah. He's pretty cool. I'm not sure if he quite understands the state of the world right now. His comments about the Bud Light travesty seems like he's not actually aware of why people are boycotting it. And so I'm not going to speak bad of him per se. I'm just going to say that I think maybe he's ignorant to what's actually going on. The wool hasn't been taken off his eyes, so to speak,
Maybe not completely, but he also has access to a lot of different angles that I don't have access to. So something I see
that is true too.
My eyes and cause me to track down other rabbit holes. He's a thought provoker, and that's one of the things I love about him, and why I have such a almost a fanboy for him. Is he's a thought provoker, and that's what we need more of nowadays. Is we need people to
absolutely
think a little bit more, because wow. Really, folks?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy because, people think of him as like a secondary Alex Jones. And, Alex Jones was just, or is, because he's still doing stuff, right? I mean, that lawsuit didn't completely bankrupt him.
Are you kidding me? What was it, like $1 trillion he owes them or something stupid?
Yeah,
like
it was a lot of money.
He worked to pay the citizens of Sandy Hook for God knows how long. That wasn't a trial. That was an execution.
Mm-hmm. It really was, and that's what I'm talking about. They're doing that to anybody who's really trying to like open people's eyes, and that's exactly why I said that's what's happening to Trump. They want Trump out of office, and they want him off this planet.
Why would they dream?
That's why they're going so hard against him.
Why would they dream to rerun that antique? Why wouldn't they just look for a better candidate to actually give Trump talking points that counters him? Like, why wouldn't they be standing behind Bobby Kennedy? Robert Kennedy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so he's not stepping down. All the other Democrats decided to step down when Biden threw his nomination in, and Kennedy's like, fuck that. Nah, he's a grumpy old man. Fuck that. He's fuck this. And he's one of the most central Democrats I've seen in decades.
Yep.
And well, he's a Kennedy, so it's a double-edged sword with the Kennedys, right? Because their history, their family history is related to the mafia. So you take that as you will, but obviously,
politics, that would never happen in America,
right? Right, of course not. No, I mean,
don't have
obviously that's every politician, right? but obviously JFK and even his brothers that have also quote unquote tragically, I'm doing the finger quotes right now, you can't see it, but tragically had accidents, right? Because like you show in First World, right? You have Auntie Sam behind the assassination of Harambe, which is a great parallel to what the government actually does to public figureheads. Anyone who's trying to make change, they assassinate one way or another, whether it's an accident or a literal assassination like JFK was.
Or they can just assassinate their character and deplatform,
right?
For lack of a better word.
Exactly, which is what they're trying to do to Trump and what they've done to Alex Jones, and surprisingly, what they haven't done to Joe Rogan.
Carlson.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Tucker Carlson. Actually, that Tucker Carlson being fired is a good example as to why Fox News is no better than CNN. It's like you have conservatives who swear by Fox News. It's like you don't understand the media, what the media is, if you think Fox News is better than CNN. Like
they're all a bunch of garbage in my opinion. They haven't told honest news in decades. Hold on, I got a good image for that one. Let me find it.
I thought what was more marketing was more offensive. She literally just disparaged her own brand and the people that consumed it while pandering to an audience that did. Yeah, I mean that's happening with a lot of things. I mean the whole Bud Light travesty is them pandering to an audience that doesn't exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, you see that a lot with a lot of different people and companies, and they're all drinking this Kool-Aid that's causing them to just step in line, toe the line, and it's terrible.
And you use the terms Kool-Aid, and that's the other thing, because I want Doc to slow down on being such a fanboy for Joe Rogan, because I used to sit back a lot and say to myself when I'm watching Alex Jones, I was like, why is this guy not killed yet? Like, like why is he still around for the things he used to say for so long? And it's like
that's why he was sued, right?
Some people get too loud.
That suing doesn't still tell me, oh, okay, I can trust this guy now because he's being destroyed because he's still around. Like you saw the payment that he has to do. Most people are just like, okay, I got to step out of this situation. He's still going, so it's like
he's still going, right?
He used to go to places like Bohemian Grove and be at the gate. If you know about that place, you know that they do sacrifices. You know
the big owl.
Go there.
Let's burn it.
And he would go there and just I'm gonna make all the noise I possibly get. He would do stuff like that, and I'm like, I know if I took my black ass over there, that'd be lit. So that doesn't make any sense to me. So it's things like that they'll be like, okay, they're for us and they're putting that out there, but it's really a usage of, let me use this to see the traffic and see how everybody's thinking. And then the universal law is I have to show you what I'm about to do to you. That's just the law in itself in the universe. I have to tell you what I'm gonna do to you, and so you can't be caught off guard when it happens. So all these conspiracy cards and all these things that come out, these things like The Simpsons, they're all planned out, and we're showing you in your face, so you're the stupid one that doesn't react to it later. And that's basically what's happening.
Right, because you say, well, I mean, just because they predicted it on The Simpsons, it wasn't really a prediction. I mean, that was kind of how I felt about it for a long time. People were like, wow, The Simpsons predicted Trump was going to become president. Well, did they, or did they just come up with something ridiculous? And it's like, well, but now that I know what I know about the media, it's like, well, yeah, I actually kind of believe that not only did they predict it, but they knew that it was going to happen. Not just that they predicted it, but they absolutely knew it was going to happen. And so the question is, with Trump, is he as little of a puppet as I'm claiming now, or could he really be a part of the system and just be on as a cover?
The Kansas City
but at the
Shuffle.
same time,
he's a weird one because he never really felt like that. The only time I ever felt like, oh, come on, Trump, is when he started saying, little things on like, maybe you should take the jab. Maybe you should. Like when he was doing that, then I was like, oh, come on, Trump. Like, don't give in. Keep the battle up. Please.
And to be and to be fair on that, I think he just, I don't think they were, if you look at Obama, for instance, right, for 100%, that he was in on everything, right? I think they kept Trump in the dark, and I think they, I think Trump they may have convinced him. Huh?
I think Trump was an accident. It was an upset. It wasn't supposed to happen.
I say so too, definitely.
For 4 years, and he only ran a portion of the country because the rest of the country was being run by the shadow portion of it. That they just, like you said, kept him in the dark. They just stood in the shadows and made decisions. And we don't need to tell him this.
Exactly.
And now that he's out of office, how many different politicians that were unelected politicians that have come out and said, "Oh, I just made the decision because I was afraid of the way he would react." Or some other sort of nonsense.
Exactly. Right. You're right, Neostar. A lot of things sound like jokes till they actually happen, right? And then it's hilarious or tear-inducing.
It's all fun and games until somebody kills the monkey.
Until the monkey dies.
I say, before we get too far off the Alex Jones story, can you throw my image up here real quick?
Yeah. Go for it. Here, let me pop that on there.
This is a character in First World issue 2, and his name is Handy Sook.
Nice.
So this one right here, if you don't get it, P-Brains, the lies are what keeps this whole dog and pony show going. If the news was actually news, everybody would wake up.
Yeah. I mean,
hat and all.
I mean, yeah, it's 100% true though. Conspiracy or facts, about 6 months.
About the average time frame we have for it.
Yeah. But it takes longer for us to realize it because, even my wife has woken up to it now. You know, last year when my eyes were first started to be woken up, she was just like, "You're crazy. My sister's crazy." And it's like, yeah, your sister is crazy. Don't get me wrong, because she also believes the Earth is flat and things like that. But she's 100% on about the vaccine. She's 100% on about this gay trans stuff going on. She's 100% on about, you know, all these other things, right? Like, but that's the problem, right? There are so many trash conspiracy theories out there that people will also believe, that it discredits the actual truth, and they do that on purpose.
Oh,
They throw
Kansas City
CIA
shuffle.
throws out. The CIA is the one that sent and that sent out the information that's true, but they also sent out the information that's not true, just to fuck it all over, you know. And
that tactic
so
they got real good at back in the 80s, actually, under the Reagan administration. When they started getting good at the economic assassinations.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you could point it back to the 80s. You could probably even, I say it all goes back to FDR. I say the modern world that we live in today is all because of FDR getting rid of the gold standard.
Big deal.
Yes, the New Deal.
Or the New Deal.
Yes, it all started there. I mean, there was shady stuff going on before that. I mean, there was the market crash that caused the Great Depression. That had something to do with it. But say
we're on the brink of another depression. The bank just collapsed.
We are
again this week? Just a couple days ago, there was another bank collapse.
And yet you wouldn't really know about it. You wouldn't really know about it because they're still talking about Dylan Mulvaney. They're still talking about drag rights and trans rights and stuff. And yeah, you know, like I said before, that stuff sucks and that stuff is terrible and it is a problem, but it's a distraction. And it's so careful. It's nonsense
got more smoke
on
than the true. Yeah, they've got to make it so absurd that you have no choice but to pay attention to it.
Exactly. And that's exactly what's going on. So people are waking up, thank goodness, though. The Dylan Mulvaney thing, I think, did start the fire towards the other side to make people realize, like, wait a minute, like why the hell is this happening? The same thing that happened to me last year with the Nick Jr. gay parade. What the hell is going on in the world, in the media, right? And so, I mean, for me, it took the gay parade on Nick Jr. For others, it's everybody else that's taken the Dylan Mulvaney thing, you know, and so now you're seeing in record numbers people who used to call themselves liberals are saying now I lean a little towards the right, I guess. I mean, now there's a term traditional liberal.
Come to the dark side. We have cookies.
Right. And it's like, but now there's like traditional liberal or the crazy left, right? And the traditional liberals are like, hey man, we don't believe in all this nonsense, but we still kind of believe in you know, freedom of choice, yada yada. It's like, all right, I can align myself temporarily with quote unquote traditional liberals. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. If it means that we could all possibly band together against the nonsense and the elites, then so be it, right? And then obviously we'd have to figure out our shit later with those issues. But the main things that's going on right now are way bigger than the freedom of choice and you know, the things that we argue about all the time. It's like this much larger things going on here.
Oh yes, and they've got to keep us bickering about all the other little things like well, oh come on, I'm not sure how old you are, Jim, but back in the 80s, in the 90s, I do not remember race being as big of a deal as it is now.
No shit.
I really do not. I didn't even
it's
give
another distraction.
But now it's something that everybody talks about on a daily basis, and it's evident and clear.
Well,
that's why it.
Go ahead.
Yep, go on, Jim. Sorry.
Well, there's a number of reasons on why that can possibly be done, but if it's like not being seen or heard or, you know, corrected in that situation, then to most it will become a distraction. To others, it's going to be like, okay, we're kind of trying to move past it, but you guys keep doing something that's going to cause us to react to it all the time anyway. So which one do you want?
It's almost like they want it there.
Oh, of course, without a doubt, they definitely want it there. They're trying to suppress some type of power or some type of awakening system. Just imagine if my community is mainly the community that's doing all the consuming, they're making trillions of dollars off of us. Imagine if we just stopped buying Gucci and Prada for once, how that would change the economy forever. But until you keep having meetings about in this music industry about you know, where we came from in the hip hop scenario, for example, hip hop wasn't supposed to be mainstream. It was an exclusive situation, and then, you know, it was a party thing, and then they moved it into having a you know, fight the power system and this and that, and then they sat down and had a meeting and said, you know what, they're getting a little too conscious here. Let's not do that. So there you go. You got NWA making gangster music, and it's been on that streak ever since. And anybody who tries to come out and have a certain consciousness, they automatically go to SoundCloud or anything of that nature where nobody can pay attention to them. So therefore, you got generations after generations shooting each other, killing each other, selling drugs, talking about lean, all this other conspiracy stuff. And then now is if I'm a ghetto person, I'm a broke person, and I don't have no other way. In the moment some 365 deal shows up where I can give you this amount of money, but you got to be gay. This is why no one really trusts what's the guy's name, the Old Town Road guy, because he wasn't gay. These are the rumors. He wasn't gay, and now he's everywhere, and all he does is make gay music. So now those are things that we see pushing, you know, the agenda. And if our community was the strongest at, I don't want to deal with it, you know, with the LGBT communities and things of that nature, because it used to be frowned upon in my community. We really was trying to kill people that was doing that. We got plenty of songs like Bati Boy songs and things of that nature where it's like, you're not allowed to do that in the community. And now we're being used, Tyler Perry, you know, Big Mama's House. Like, we're being used as the community where we're going to push this gay agenda. So it's a whole bunch of things that happen. And then when the cameras out now, because obviously we've been having since Martin Luther King Jr. and the riots and stuff like that of the police officers, you know, the police system was created off of, you know, the KKK and things of that nature. So it was never really anything to help us. And we still are having, you know, constitution laws and things of that nature that still makes us seem like we're not part of the system regardless. And using the terms black and, you know, African American shows that we have no true nationality. And if you don't have a true nationality, you can't be considered somebody of this land. So we're the only community that's not being called who we are supposedly be called. And we're called all these other names, but not the actual thing. We're not from Africa. We never came from Africa. That's a myth in itself as well. And
why can't we all just be Americans? Why do we have to?
And that's the one thing that we're trying to become as. But
I say, how about I just stop calling you a black man and you stop calling me a white man, and we just move past this?
Okay, but that's the thing. We didn't come up with that terminology, so that divide was created by the other.
I think with the technology we have and with the intelligence level most of us should have achieved by the time we get out of grade school, that there's no reason to have as much control and dictation over the general population. Why can't we all just promise not to be dicks to each other and get on with life?
Right, absolutely. Well, it was said best by Ken Ham. He's a Christian guy I was listening to, but he said basically he was making a case for saying that basically all humans are, it doesn't matter like your skin color. There's really only one race, and that's the human race. Like there's really no black, white, whatever, right? And he said, look, I can prove to you right now that I'm not white. And he holds up a white piece of paper up to his face, and it's like clearly his skin tone is not white compared to the paper, right? And that's a good point, right? I was actually looking at my skin color because of that the other day, and I'm like, I was comparing it to the wall, which is white, and it's like clearly my skin is much more brown than that, right? And then there's the door, which is a wooden color, a light brown, and my skin color matches that light brown more than it does white, you know? So it's you know what I mean? Like and black again, like I've seen you in person, Jem. I wouldn't say your skin tone is even black. Like I think black, you think black is night ash, right? Like, yeah, sure, it's a dark brown, but it's not black, right? And so that terminology is just wrong, 100% wrong.
Well, that's the thing. When Columbus came over here and all the other conquerors, they will officially call us by the other names, which are the Aboriginal, Native American, or it was calling us copper people.
Yeah, call them savages, right? Oh yeah, copper. Yeah,
we was copper
which would
people
be more of a brown.
Else. Exactly. And,
yeah,
and you know the Moorish and everything of that nature. But then when they started using the terminology of, if you look into the Black Laws book, if you start using the word black in itself, it means so many derogative or death or darkness or all these things. So therefore they put it on us as that name. And as an ignorant, stupid person, you're just going to adapt to it and say, I am black and I'm power. And then it's like,
right, exactly.
You're retarded because you're accepting black. But then that's, by definition, when you go and sign up for something, it'll say, are you black, aka in brackets, black African American, which is none of the terms that we are. We was here first. We never came from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So then now you're signing that. Or just how the Spanish community usually either sign for two different directions. They either say they're white or they're black. There's no
right.
race for them in particular. So it's like it's so much of complications that it causes a confusion. And then you have a divide with the children as well. It starts from there. And then
the law of names.
You turn your TV on for the past, 5 years, you start seeing all the just, I was fearing for my life, so I shot him in his arm, or, I shot a child in the back of his head, then now you're going to have a certain group like, well, we've been kind of telling you guys they was doing this, but Jesus, it's like, what's happening here? What's really trying to happen here? And then you have the other groups that's like, well, some of them deserve that, guys, they was a drug addict before. Well, you got all those types of groups, and now we're in a divide, and it's like, you want to just sit back and say, listen, I'm going to love you regardless of whatever color you is. I don't even really care about this new generation crap that you guys have got going. I just want to coexist.
Can't we all just agree to disagree? I don't have to agree with you. You don't have to agree with me. Let's just agree to disagree. That's
right.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's a thing.
And and even so, we could have a discussion and disagree and still get along. In fact, me and Jem disagree on a lot of different things, but we get along. We're still brothers. We're still brothers. Like
we wouldn't have half the advances we have now without disagreements. It's just what drives us as a culture is to be able to disagree and to be able to think freely and clearly and independently. Than everybody else. If everybody thought the same, this world would be just so boring.
Absolutely.
We might be in peace though. If anything, the disagreements does cause the problem sometimes.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to.
Right.
All we have to do is grow up and be like, okay, I understand your point of view. I just don't happen to share it.
Yeah.
I don't have to be mad at you for that reason. You don't have to be mad at me for that reason. I don't have to exterminate your race because none of that matters. We don't share the same opinion. Cool.
Yeah, it
okay,
snowballs for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, I don't know how to fix the world when it comes to that, and it's going to take forever to fix that situation, and you're going to always hear from my community of complaints because we don't get treated fair. We still haven't, we'll go down the rabbit hole with the reparation situation. If everybody else got their reparations, then you're going to have that argument of like, okay, well, how fair is that? And then you got the people that are saying, okay, I'm not paying that tax money on this new generation. You guys didn't suffer. And it's like saying, then if that's the case, then those Jewish people that's still getting paid reparations should not be getting paid because they didn't suffer either. the old ones did.
It's about time now. We need to just etch a sketch this entire failed experiment of a government and start over.
Oh, of course, I'm 100% on you. But without that, if we don't unite, and we got all these stupid reasonings, these laws that can just be rewritten, but they're not trying to fix it, and no one's standing up and saying, you know what, let's just rush the Capitol. Then that's what happens. We're going to always sit here.
It really doesn't matter on the Capitol. It's more on a local level. How many people can tell you who their local representative is? That's a game I like to play. Is like, do you even know who your local representative is? So if you have a problem with your local government, who do you call?
Right.
And less than 20% can actually name him to me.
Right. And does that change though? Because I've seen people go to these city halls and stuff and
no. I can call my representative, my local representative, the one that represents my voice in my city for my state. And I can call and leave a message at his office. And if I don't get a phone call back in a week, I'm going to be in his office expecting him to see me face to face.
Yep.
Hey man,
that's what you got to do.
Everybody has that ability. They are our voice to the government. So go be a voice. If you have something to say it to your representative. If they're not saying your voice in your manner, they shouldn't be your representative. You should probably speak in the local election, because does it really matter what some old guy in another state's doing?
Yeah, I think
it does long-term affect the entire world. Don't get me wrong. Yes, the entire country, the federal government has a mass overreach over the individual state sovereignty and state rights. But if they just left the damn states alone, we'd figure this out.
Yeah, I think the problem is the unity in itself, in the numbers, because I see a lot of people still go. Say again?
Too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Yeah, I see a lot of people go up there and they'll try to fight for, the rights or correction of anything like that in these city halls and things of that nature. But it's not going to matter, because that one individual just get carried out by security half of the time, or he's just this TikTok, YouTube video. So,
I found a loophole in my state. So I got thrown out of every state building in my state capital because I wanted to go ahead and have my voice heard, and I thought it was important enough that it was going to be heard. So after I was escorted by security off of the state capitol building, I found a small loophole that it would take 2.5 hours of my time for an ethics meeting or an ethics training class, and I would have to pay $150, and I could become a registered lobbyist, which means they're going to give me a badge and they can't throw me out of that building.
Right.
Yet again, it's only you being the fighter.
Do what?
I said that's the thing. It's only you being the fighter. Imagine they can't throw us all out.
Oh, exactly. If we all actually figured out,
if we all were able to do that,
they've all built systems into this for all of us to be able to do it. So go down to your local state building, go down to your local county building, introduce yourself, see who you voted for. Do you even know their name, or do you just pick some random name on the ballot?
Right.
The system would actually work. The system's not broke. It's what we've done to it.
Yeah.
Right. It's that we don't get involved enough. We expect the politicians to do their jobs, and that's the problem.
Yeah, but I have employees, and if you expect them to do their jobs, that's the problem. Because
absolutely.
And I don't want to downplay on employees. I love my employees. You have to have employees, but you'll never get 100% out of an employee. So a manager, an owner, and a higher up has to understand that. So if you're expecting your employee to give you 100%, to give you as much effort as you do, they're not going to. That is where the failure starts. They're going to give you somewhere between 70 to 80% of their attention, their time, and their expertise. If you get more than that, you are blessed. But if you can average that out, that expects the pay they're giving us. Shit, the pay they're giving us is less than that in most cases.
Yep.
But it's a mismatch of balance on all sides. We're all expecting something for nothing, and it's really what is it? Do you equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome.
Exactly.
And all
equality
you have
versus equity.
I write like a third grader, but I learned how to read in third grade too. So they wrote down instructions on how all of this works. Now it's lots and lots of words. But once you spend weeks reading through them and you're like, oh, this one paragraph is all I had to find to figure out that if I become a lobbyist, they can't throw me out of this building, so I will be heard. Then if we have more people start to kick in and be allowed a voice, that's the biggest thing that's going to threaten the government is us figuring out that we're all on the same side.
Yep.
Exactly.
Sorry,
that's a
that
good
was
point,
firmly on a
Neostar, as well.
falling off of the conspiracy, outrage.
Oh, this
it's
all
all
part
good.
of this conspiracy.
That's what the show is for. It's what the show is about tonight.
It's all a part of it.
I had my soapbox thing earlier when I started the show, and so yeah, it's all good. And yeah, it's just obviously it's all more complicated than simple, unfortunately.
If you look over here and do big enough flashlights, then you're going to watch this while we do this and nobody's watching. As long as we don't talk about it, nobody will ever notice until it's too late. And it's already been a law for 5 years. Too bad you didn't just find out about it. Why didn't you read it?
Exactly.
Pretty much.
That's why Obamacare was such a problem, because they were sneaking shit into that the whatever the healthcare bill, whatever it was freaking called. I forget what it's even called these days.
There's no reason for a law to be more than about 10 pages. So these 200 pages, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yep. Basically, it was if it got passed, it was a way to get a lot of things passed at once, right? And there were things that they didn't even talk about that were in that bill, So some of the things that the government is allowed to do, that we were like, hey, how are they able to do that? It's because of the Obamacare. It's because of Obamacare.
Yeah, it was on the backside of the bill. That's why, we're funding Ukraine's war. And
yeah, exactly. That's why we're at war with China. We don't even know it. The public doesn't even know it. That guy came back from Taiwan and says, we're at war, guys. We're at war with China. You got to be prepared. We're at war. And the crazy thing is about that, right? Being at war with China, it almost debunks the idea that the Biden administration is being under China's thumb, but not really, because even if they go to war with China, they know they can't win.
Wouldn't a war with China be simple to win, though? Wouldn't you just be able to print a lot of Chinese money, fly over it, and just dump a bunch of money into the cities and let them just go chaos?
Right.
It would be easy. I could end this war in a week. Come on, people. Why are we getting aggressive? Yeah. Let's just be creative.
Well, we did do that to the Soviets, right? I mean, part of the downfall of the Soviet Union was because we counterfeited their money, right?
No, but if you just dump billions and trillions of dollars just over top of the general population of China that's starving, what is it going to mean with the money that they're paying the soldiers? What does their paychecks actually mean then?
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
They will still, like, this is not gold.
So yeah, I'm not throwing gold. That might hurt somebody.
Yeah.
That might be an act of war in itself. I just dumped a ton of gold on your country and small little pebbles from space.
It can't be something of actual value. Gold has actual value. Dollars are useless, worthless.
I don't know. You could assign about 20 tons of value to gold if you drop it from the stratosphere. That might make a little bit of a boom.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that would be an act of. But see, that would be an act of war that we could handle, because dropping gold would probably.
That would be the best form of gaslighting you could ever look at. No, but I was giving your country gold.
Yeah,
come on. Why are you mad at me?
What do you mean? That's a donation. That's a donation. It's like what we did to Afghanistan. Right? We dropped bombs and they're like, hey, here's some care packages for all those houses we blew up.
Yeah.
Here, let me blow.
See, we're not really at
let me rebuild this for you.
We're not at war. Right? We're not at war with Afghanistan. We're at war with the Taliban.
Here's my question to you gentlemen. After all this conspiracy that me and you are discussing, are you guys proud to say that you're American in 2023?
Yes, sir, I am. I am a proud red-blooded American that goes back as far as this country goes, and I will be a dead American by the time I do anything different.
Jesus.
I will die in my country. I love my country.
For me, it's a double-edged sword, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because patriotism in itself is a little bit like drinking Kool-Aid. To believe one country's better than another. I mean, obviously, America is better than most of the world. Now, that's coming to an end, mind you. But I do definitely feel the like Doc said, right? I for the American values, for the forefathers' America, right? That's the America that I still hold true to my heart, that I believe in. So to say I'm proud to be an American, yes, but because of the forefathers, not the current situation. I could say I'm proud to be American because I want the current situation to change, and I want to fight
our
for
current
what this
situation
country
can change, which is what makes our country so great. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yes. No, it's fine. And so that's the thing, you know. I do feel pride for America. Now, I also you know, being a Christian, I don't believe country is bigger than the Almighty King Jesus, of course. But I do feel blessed to be in this country. I'm definitely blessed to be here rather than anywhere else in the world, despite all the nonsense, right?
I'm proud of the freedoms we've actually spread throughout the world.
Yes.
Sometimes it was a little bit aggressive, but I didn't say we weren't the redheaded stepchild of the world. I just said I'm proud.
Right. Exactly. And Pops makes a good point. It has nothing to do with loving your government, right? Your country is not the government. Your country is the values that it's built on, which is freedom and free thought and freedom of speech, freedom of religion. You're loving your neighbors. Yeah, exactly. The people you're around, your coworkers. So I mean, Jem, you're an American brother of mine, right? Right. So I look at you as that more than even a quote unquote black coworker or something like that. I don't. And I know this is a stereotypical thing to say. I don't see color in that way, you know, because we're Americans, we're humans, and we're brothers, you know, in that sense, right? And so yeah, I mean that's what makes us relatable to each other too. You know, we're all in this country, whether it's currently in a good or bad state. Well, let's have some pride to go back to the state that was good. You know,
just because my father's an abusive drunk doesn't mean I don't love my family.
Exactly.
And I
that's
think
a good way to put it. That's a good
between patriotism and nationalism.
Yeah. So nationalism is more like what I was getting at earlier, drinking the Kool-Aid, just be like, yeah, this country has no flaws.
Oh,
you
hell
know,
no.
This
We've
country's
made a
the
lot
best.
of mistakes.
And exactly. You know,
if
so
you don't, how do you
nationalism is
learn
the
if you don't
belief
make mistakes though?
Exactly. You can't, right? And of course, I mean, when humans run things, mistakes and terrible things happen, right? Human history is the history of horrible things happening over and over and over again.
Oh, we're
right?
good at finding out bad ways of doing things.
Yes, absolutely. You know, so.
But at the end of the day, we all just monkeys in shoes.
I like that phrase. It's funny. Monkeys in shoes. It's. I mean, in a way, it's right. It's sort of, but.
Well, speaking of conspiracies, have you all heard the stoned ape theory?
The stoned ape theory? No.
Yeah, it's going to go against the creation theory or the creation.
Yeah, creationism.
Yeah, creationism.
That's fine.
That's what I was looking for. But it goes in with we are the human species is the. I'm going to butcher this because of reasons and things, but I'm going to try my best. That the reason we're no longer apes and we no longer have the tails and we became as social as we have and we developed the prefrontal cortex the way we did, and it separates us so much further than the rest of the primate species, is that we weren't fit to actually be in the trees, so we were the ones they chased into the fields, and we weren't allowed to do the climbing and the whatnots, so we were forced to start to work together more as a community. And that's when we started trying to eat more food. Like we started to actually ingest more protein because we were able to actually cook our food and things like that. So we were able to ingest more protein and we were able to keep our food for longer periods. We then also started to experiment with other things like mushrooms and things that warp your sense of reality, that actually help develop the prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, Neostar says like from the Herculoids.
Something like that. It's an interesting theory, and I'm sure I scoured over that and missed a bunch of the different topics on it. But if anybody wants to look into it, it's the stoned ape theory. They've got a whole paper on it. It's an incredible read to just ponder what ifs.
Nah, I'm gonna throw that one in the trash with Darwinism as well.
You know, it's interesting to see how people's minds work, from my opinion. I like to see how people think. I like to see how people's rationale comes together, and things are, everything is connected at the end of the day.
Yeah, I never.
You know what's crazy? Bill Nye, the science guy. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not into the evolution thing either, but Bill Nye, the science guy, he actually debated Ken Ham. Right, the guy I was talking about earlier, but there's some footage of them just going around. So they debated him out of this place called the Genesis Museum. It's in Kentucky. It's probably a pretty cool place. I want to go there. But anyway, Ken Ham's kind of like the head of the Genesis Museum. And, so Bill Nye came there to debate them. So before the debate, they kind of walked around the museum and kind of had like a debate tour kind of thing. And Bill Nye actually said something that was ridiculous. I'm so slow to the draw here. But he said something that was actually pretty ridiculous.
You said the secret word.
He said that there's actually he said something about them thinking that we actually could be our ancestors could be Martians. And I'm like, how is that less ridiculous than God creating Adam and Eve? like you believe we could possibly be Martians? Like
well, there is real evidence that can possibly be not as exactly as Martians.
100% of our written history would consist of less than 2% of our history as a species. So our species is roughly 250,000 years old, as anatomically correct as we are today. The brain size, the body size, everything is about the same, going back about 250,000 years. But our written history only goes back at very max, and we all know how written history is with the telephone game and things, of 5,000 years. So you're looking at less than 0.5% of written history. We could have colonized the entire solar system, forgot about it, and then wound up back on Earth with only 2 people left and started over by now.
There's some truth and weirdness to that, because like I say, you have a lot of the Akkadian, the Samaritan, and Egyptian,
the
Samaritan all those
myth
artifacts.
That's hilarious. Have you all read through that one about how we're the genetic offspring of a failed experiment from a slave race from the Anunnaki in order to mine the gold from this planet so we can see their atmosphere?
Yeah, so we have a lot of those type of engravings and carvings and stuff like that.
Well, while we're on this subject, I'm going to plug First World one more time, because Pope may or may not be the first failed experiment before we got to humans, and that might also be where the above average Joe came from, and how they're slightly outside of where they are, because that gives me an entirely new storyline that I want to write. I'm going to call it Inky, Pinky, and Enlil.
You're gonna butcher the Anunnaki.
I'm gonna absolutely. That is just.
I have an answer. I have an answer for you, but this isn't a gospel preaching show, so I'll save that for another night. But tune in Sunday. I'll answer that question for you.
Neostar, if you like aliens, you should find the Book of Shmirsh. It's a collection of aliens that supposedly the KGB put together back during World War II that outlines all the known races that our governments know about and the last contacts they've had with our planet.
Right. Yep. The Dogma tribe, not Dogma. What's the
Dogon? The Dogon tribe. Yes, over in Africa.
Yeah. Map the stars with
50 years before we even. Yep.
Yeah. So
and when we asked them how they knew, 50 years later, we figured out they were right. So we go back to the Dogon tribe and we're like, okay, we have to know. How did you know about this? Their answer has got to be the best answer I've ever heard in the world. The fish told us.
Yep, which is the nomos. So it's a bunch of things, and you can
there we go.
the Pope still uses the same formation of his hats and things, and in the same form of the nomos or the fish gods and all these other deities. So it's everything is all still connected to that alien, theory. If you want to believe it or not, is up to you. That's until
Now
they
that
show up
fish
and say, "Hey, we
symbolism
was
is
here, guys."
interesting.
It's just going to only be a theory,
Have you all ever heard of the procession of the equinox?
The equinox?
The
No.
procession of the equinox.
No, you got to
Okay,
break it down.
so our solar system circles around the sun in a set circular orbit. We all know how that works. And if you take it and put it on a 3D scale instead of a 2D scale, it doesn't actually form a big disk going out because the planets are on different orbits and different sides. It's like a globe within inside a globe within inside a globe. And if you look even further out, our solar system is actually moving through the cosmos, which is moving through the galaxy, or our solar system is moving through the galaxy, which is moving through the cosmos, and everything's moving all at the same time. And supposedly the Aztecs, that calendar that everybody freaked out about that was going to end. Thanks for all the fish. Yes.
Yeah. Now, if we see the dolphins flying away, we'll know.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll know we made a horrible mistake somewhere. But everybody remembers the end of the world in 2012. I need to print some first world T-shirts and start listing how many times we've survived the end of the world.
Well,
that's
the crazy part, because I was just telling
definitely.
him at work the other day when we was talking about end of the world stuff. I was like, well, you got to understand, a lot of these other civilizations, it wasn't meaning that the world was going to explode or anything. It was more of changing of the ages, or the
and that's what I'm actually referencing
Yes.
is the procession of the equinox is the changing of the ages.
Yes.
Because it takes and they had the math down incredibly long, and that's when we actually shifted from the age of Aquarius to from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. We are now in the age of Aquarius, whereas prior to, for the first 2,500 years or so, or the last 2,500 years or so, we've been in the age of Pisces. Now, the interesting thing about it is Pisces is represented by what? A fish. So the fish is what the big symbolism is for the Christian religion, for a lot of the different religions of the past 2,500 years.
Right.
And if you look at the age before the fish, you had the ram.
Yeah.
Okay, and well, look at the Torah, and look at the Old Testament and the Jewish religions and all the different symbolisms and items we had to bulls and rams. Look at the sacred bulls and cows over in India and things like that, and the religious practices they hold. So did we actually just shift in 2012 into a new age, the age of Aquarius, the age of enlightenment, the age of knowledge?
Or lack thereof, or fake knowledge, right? Because it's
I don't know.
so
You have to
confusing
etch a
and
sketch it before you draw it. Before you sketch it out, you've got to kind of erase it before you can start to draw anything.
Yeah,
and that's why we've been having so many great resets.
It's a great shift, right? It's the great shift, they call it.
I say we just remove all warning labels and let nature take its course.
Yeah, right.
We got to be careful.
Well, the warning labels are more for they're less for safety, and they're more for lawsuits, because they don't want to be sued. So the whole thing with that started with the McDonald's cup, a hot coffee McDonald's cup.
Oh,
now,
yes, I've looked into this one. That was a travesty from the word go.
It was, and it was played off like the lady was just dumb. But the thing is,
was an assassination.
It wasn't, because those lids. Absolutely, it was. Those lids actually were very, very loose. They did not fit right, and they made that coffee exceptionally scalding hot.
And she had asked it
way
like 4
hotter than it
times
should have
before. She was a regular. We get into
Yes.
our routines, and we become very routine creatures. We all do it. Think about your day. You do the same damn thing every day.
We're creatures of habit.
So you get a cup of coffee at McDonald's on your way to work every morning. You get a cup of coffee at McDonald's on your work every morning. Yes, she had an option to go somewhere else, but she chose not to. She chose her option of freedom, and she just went ahead and spoke to them, and she said, please, this is way too hot. Let's go ahead and correct this. And then come to find out, they had been cited 2 times in the past because the temperature of the burner would not actually shut off. It was bypassed. Somebody had messed with it where it wouldn't actually turn off to keep the temperature a certain degree. It was an entire travesty.
And McDonald's
whole thing
wanted them to do that too. McDonald's wanted them to do that.
Of course, it saved money. They're not going to have to replace anything.
Exactly.
McDonald's makes more money on real estate than they do on burgers. Don't let them fool you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're a real estate empire, not a burger joint, not a burger
And speaking
empire.
of McDonald's and big, large corporations as such, why don't they have to have different operating licenses in every state that they do business in? Shouldn't they actually have to have an entity in that state operating as that state, and that's where that state's business is done? Why do we need this interstate business thing? If you don't want to do business in my state, don't put a company headquarters here. Or you're going to put 50 company headquarters because you can afford it in every state, and you're going to create employment.
That's what made Disney so special, that they just was their own state within a state.
Yeah, essentially they were
their own state within a state, and DeSantis is putting an end to that, and it's wonderful.
Well, I say for the state of Florida I used to live in, and that it has enjoyed many millions and trillions of dollars based on the backs of hardworking Americans and hardworking tourists, all throwing it at Disney because they brought a lot of money into that state. They single-handedly put that state on the map, quote unquote.
Yep.
If without Disney, without Disney, Florida would just be the retarded California.
Yeah, probably. I mean, California has a Disney too. California has a Disney too. Just remember that the Disneyland started before Disney World. Disney World was Walt Disney's dream magnum opus, but Disneyland was where it all started for him.
Oh yeah, I know. I chose my words carefully.
All started, but yeah.
It's the retarded brother of California. I chose my words carefully.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, it's good. It's good analysis.
I'm not taking too much of this happiness with you disrespecting my home state there, sir.
Oh, well, sir,
he's originally
if it makes
from Florida.
You feel any better, I'm actually a native to Florida as well, and I've done lots of genealogy. I can track my heritage to 1812.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
So I lived in the state of Florida so long, I have never gotten a sunburn.
Oh,
wow.
Me neither.
Yeah, that's.
But, yeah, I'm definitely trying to go back myself because I'm so bored of where we're at.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of pride for my state, but I'm just saying I can pick on it. When I lived there, I wanted a bumper sticker on the front of my car that said "Native, so move."
Oh my gosh.
Just move. Just get out of my way. Yes, there's concrete. Yes, there's beaches. I have to get to work. Move.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I kind of feel like if a situation came up where I had to move, I kind of feel like Florida would probably be my number one pick.
I'm thinking I might have to pick California or New York because everybody's vacating. Imagine how cheap the houses are going to be here in another year or two.
In New York?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good. Well,
California just imposed some new tax or something, from what I hear. That if you sell your house, it's like a 13% extra tax to the state.
Mm.
Oh wow!
It's something stupid
just
like
because
that. Yeah, just
they
because they don't want
leaving.
you to leave. There's that many people leaving the state. It's crazy. I was reading an article about we're having a current a housing crisis and a housing boom at the exact same time, and our country has never experienced this before because it's by area. Certain areas are more than double the housing prices. Other areas, the housing prices have almost cut in half because everybody's trying to sell at the same time.
And Florida is one of those states that there's a max exodus going to right now, actually.
Yep.
It's basically just the South in general, but Florida is definitely one of them. One of the big ones. Ben Shapiro famously said that he basically fled from California to Florida. And yeah, I mean, you've seen it with a lot of people.
I thought the Daily Show was in Nashville.
Well, Daily Wire.
I'm sorry, not the Daily Wire, not the Daily Show. The Daily Wire.
It is headquartered in Nashville, but he himself lives in Florida.
Gotcha. Kind of like the Russian Limbaugh thing. So yeah, no, I understand.
Exactly. I mean, obviously he's affluent enough to be able to fly to Nashville whenever he needs to.
He's got more money than God. He's got this. He's got it covered.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously he's in Nashville a lot. He probably even has a second home in Nashville. Hell, Matt Walsh became a citizen of a town just so he could speak at a city council against the transgender nonsense. He like
sounds like something I would do.
He bought a basement or something, a basement apartment or something, just so he could be a citizen of I think it might have been, well, I don't think it was Nashville because that's where they're, but it was somewhere near, I think it was still in Tennessee, but yeah, he literally bought a place just so he could hey, no problem, Shane. Thanks for coming on when you did. And if you're still want to hang out, just come on back. We'll probably be wrapping up in a little bit, but because I got to get in, hang out with my wife before the night is gone. But
I'm sorry to hear that, sir.
Oh, I just wanted to talk conspiracies and see how my puppet's going. I love it.
Yeah. No, the puppet's awesome, dude. Definitely gotta work. You definitely gotta make the puppet your thing now.
Oh yes, I'm gonna definitely have to start streaming with the puppet. I might have to go even further than that because now they have AI and all sorts of stuff I can load into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And,
so if I can have conversations with myself, animate like a anti-Sam, and then put myself on either side and just argue with an AI, that would be hilarious.
And Neostar says, "Oh man, imagine Ben Shapiro on the Daily Show." Well, I don't know if I could imagine it because it's definitely not. Well, it would be interesting if they did actually have the balls to bring him on and interview him, because I'm sure he would tear them down so gloriously. But I'm glad you got to try it out on my show first, man. It's pretty.
Yes,
it's an honor.
This is the premiere of Above Average Joe. So yes, this is.
There you go. Only on daily videos with EB do you see things like this.
The randomness.
The randomness.
Mm-hmm. That third eye still creeps me out. It blinks out of sequence, and I'm loving it.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
That's what it usually does.
It really is. Right. It usually does. Right.
Yeah, I have trouble controlling mine too.
Yeah, nope. I would like to think mine's wide open.
Yeah.
I don't mess with that stuff, but hey, you guys do you.
So don't run. You next.
Oh, come on. Let's double down on the third eye thing. What about the pineal gland?
What do you feel about it?
Okay, well, I think it's being calcified slowly over time since the 80s when they forced the
fluoride
into the water.
Yeah.
And said,
God,
nothing to see here. Fluoride is not the byproduct of making aluminum. We don't have tons of fluoride that we need to dispose of, and we need to find a safe place to put it. No, nothing to see here. Oh, look at this. These people that died from fluoride poisoning, their teeth are really hard, and so are their bones.
Yeah, you noticed that, right? It's crazy.
Except fluoride, even if
except they
if
were
you
dead. That was a problem.
Long enough,
they were dead.
Well, that too, right? But even the teeth thing is a lie because fluoride actually, even though it's good for your teeth from toothpaste in small doses, mind you, you can't be like
micro doses. This isn't. Let's just put it in the city's tap water.
Yeah, and of course, whenever you mention Nazi Germany, it will discredit you a little bit. But let's put it out there: they experimented with fluoride in the water first, and there was a reason for that because they know that fluoride makes a docile population.
Yes, it will lower the IQ score, and it will calcify the pineal gland. Is one of the main things it does.
Appreciate that, Neostar. Appreciate that.
Yeah, Neostar been going in.
Yes.
Yeah. He's been part of the conversation just as much as us. Absolutely. And
Neostar Productions.
Yeah, but
I'm assuming you produce something. Drop us a link.
Yeah, he's really good.
Drop a link, man, please.
But back on the eyeball.
Oh yes, the third eyeball. What do you got to chime in on it with?
Well, we're going to go down that rabbit hole, but
dun dun dun.
Let's do it. Well, that'll be the last subject we
because I'm in the the other community, the whole holistic witch community scenario.
The new age stuff, yeah.
I may or may not know a little bit about it.
Not new age. It's pretty ancient, but
it's been around for a minute.
Well, that's what they call it these days in the new age.
Well, the proper term, I think,
to kind of disguise it from. Yeah.
Because
it's all the same thing.
By definition, anything that doesn't fall under the Abrahamic religions.
Right.
Pretty much. But yeah, it's all different titles to say the same thing, which is witchcraft. But they don't. Now that witchcraft has kind of that
we
negative
can have an entire
connotation
show
to
on
it.
this one if you want.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, we could.
We're definitely
Yeah, you
diving
get
into
into the new age, but they call it
one.
new age now to keep people away from the idea that it's witchcraft. Basically,
Yeah, pretty much.
It's kind of like a misnomer.
I happen to collect religions. I like to say that's one of my first loves. Is I am infatuated with the different religions, and I have made it my life's mission to study as many of them as I can. And I've even studied some fucked up religions, but I want to know about them. I want to know.
And see, that's the thing, because then you will, if you know that, then you will know on how a lot of the things, not to throw it under the bus, but a lot of the things of the Christian Bible or anything will basically demonize a lot of the other cultures, or a lot of other cultures that had these beliefs, that I believe that I was spirit wolf and I talked to my ancestors.
But a lot of the stuff in the Bible doesn't disprove any of that.
It doesn't, but it'll still be like,
no,
okay,
it's not disproven, but it's
don't work with
like I
other
said, this isn't a
deities,
gospel
don't
preaching
work
show,
with
so I won't.
It'll have those type of things inside the Bible as well. Or don't deal with certain herbs, even though they will do the same things. Like if you go to an altar, you build an altar, but the Bible will kind of demonize building an altar outside of building it for God.
I will see you when you get back, Neostar.
Or I ain't see him.
Yeah, but did they build an altar of their own and they called it the Ark of the Covenant?
Yes, like I said, they would do certain things that if it wasn't directly towards God himself or Yah, or whatever you want to call him, it would be demonized from other cultures. Like he would be like, I am selfish God. There's no other gods, no deities before me.
I look at religion
other
more
cultures
the
would be
same
demonized.
lines as I look at the family dynamics and the family structure. And I don't think I really even understood my own spirituality until I became a father. And then I looked at my child and I realized that at that moment, it took about 2 weeks before I had the epiphany that, okay, well, to this child, I am now a father.
Right.
To my wife, I am a husband. To my friends, I am a friend. To my coworkers, I am an acquaintance or a coworker. To my customers, I am a savior. To my enemies, I am a threat. I am so many different things to so many different people. How would I be able to fathom that any one person could all classify me as one? I'm looked at in so many different filters or with so many different glasses that my name even changes. Depending on who it is I'm talking to, and depending on who it is I'm talking to, the rules change. I will talk to my friends totally different than I will talk to my wife, which is totally different than I will talk to my children, which is totally different than I will talk to my boss. But it doesn't mean that I hold or value any of the relationships any different, but they are in fact different. So how could I fathom that a omnipotent being that knows all, sees all, and is all expects all to treat him the same way?
Well, that's simply put, and that was beautifully how you put that there. But it's simply put, if I control majority of all religion, then now that's all you're going to believe, because the most biggest religion would be what?
At the moment, it's Christianity, but they're doing everything they can right now to demonize it.
They're doing everything that they can to destroy it.
And I see absolutely nothing wrong with the Christian faith. I'm not saying I am non-Christian or I have anything against it. The Christian Bible is an amazing collection of algorithms and stories and books and genealogy and knowledge that is one of the best kept records we have in human history. It deserves a very, very huge spotlight.
It's a blueprint. It's a to go to. Correct.
It was put together by a man named Constantine, and it was picked and choose what was allowed to be let in it. And it took millennia, a couple centuries to fully collect and put together, and has been edited ever since. Now, if you want to get a real good read of the Bible, I'm sorry, here's my soapbox. I'll step off here real quickly. Check out the Dates.
It's all good.
The Dates Bible is a direct translation of the Bible from Greek. And the interesting thing about that is in the Greek language, they have more than 3 words for the word love. And it all depends on how the word love is in
context.
Transliterated. Yeah.
Whereas in the English language, we only have 1 word. And how many times is that in the whole book?
Right.
So in which context are we really talking about? And if you were to replace one form of love for another form of love, you get an entire different interpretation out of that book.
Exactly.
And that's just one word.
And that's where the confusion sometimes shows up as well.
So
Because,
I will
we'll have debates about
off my soapbox.
Oh no, you was doing
I
great.
collect religions. One of the great ones. If nobody's actually read the Karma Sutra, I'm not even saying that it's a religion, but everybody kind of mistakes it as one. But the Karma Sutra is an incredible book for business.
Yeah.
It is by far more beneficial to me in business than the Art of War.
Wow.
Because it actually breaks it down. Now, yes, it uses sex as a means to explain it to you. So it just makes learning business interesting and fun.
I've never ever, you put me on to something. I've never ever looked at
But now
that.
the Karma Sutra is not just that collection of pictures. That's one chapter of the Karma Sutra is the collection of pictures.
Right.
There is much more to it. It is a huge book, and it will take you a minute to get through. It's about the size of the Bible. It is massive, but it's a cultural secret that I think a lot of people have kind of missed, and I want to highlight it in my collection of religions.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Absolutely. All right, Neostar's back. I wanted to touch on this real quick before we wrap it up. Seems like a lot of messed up shit the government's pulling right now is offshoots of Nazi tactics. Well, yeah, so I have this theory that the Nazis didn't actually lose, that Germany didn't actually lose. They may have lost physically, like the country obviously fell to democracy or whatever, but I think all the ideas of Nazi Germany definitely won. They stayed, and you're obviously seeing that come to fruition now.
Is that the idea?
But actually, it could have come to fruition. Well, right. Well, that's the thing. That was the German government, not the German people, right? The Nazis. Yeah. But the fascism, or fascism, nationalism, whatever you want to call it, right? I believe that did survive. And even in 1948, there was a book written called 1984, and that was written basically in fear of the government getting too much power, and actually in the UK, the reason why they even made it written for 1984 instead of 1948, because had the government gotten wind that was what it was really about, that it was about current times and not about the future, they would have been assassinated. They would have been killed. That's why he inverted the 8 and the 4, because he was afraid that the government would actually shut him down. So even in 1948, just 3 years after the Nazis supposedly lost, the UK government was already taking some of those fascist thoughts to heart in how to control the population and everything like that. And then, like everything we've talked about, like I said, it all goes back to FDR, but one of the other catalysts or nexuses that you could say but for the UK, it probably goes back to the end of World War II. For us, it goes back to FDR, right? But and there's an interesting interview in the documentary Sicko, where Michael Moore interviews someone from the UK government, and they said, well, we came to the conclusion that if we have money for war, then we should have money to give free healthcare to everyone, right? And that's actually a really scary line, right? Because when you make the people rely on the government, you take their freedom away, and it's exactly what 1984 was about. So inadvertently, Michael Moore proves the fascism that is within the UK government.
The Orwellian government.
Yeah, the Orwell, exactly. So Neostar, you're absolutely right. Not only are they offshoots of Nazi tactics, they are Nazi tactics. They're 100% Nazi tactics. There's also communists. So I've been trying to think about this for a while. what is the difference between fascism and communism? Is there really a difference, or was Stalin and Hitler essentially the same guy with slightly different tactics, right? Because in Stalin's Russia, you had complete and utter control under the guise of the government taking care of you, whereas under the Hitler's Germany, you had complete and government control under the guise of loving your government and having pride for it, right? So essentially, they both come down to complete and utter government control. So what is the difference, really, besides maybe the dressing?
The
right?
trench coat that they decided to wear? They're both just evil wearing a trench coat. Disguised as communism, fascism.
Exactly. And so Marxism is the original, well, we call it, I forget exactly how the history of the word evolved to socialism and communism, right? Because it all started off as Karl Marx, right? Karl Marx created the whatever of the book that kind of spawned the idea of communism, right? And then you had the revolution in Russia that started it all, and it's no coincidence that China became communist after World War II, because Russia is its neighbor. You know, people don't realize this about Russia, but Russia is just as much Asian as it is European.
Wasn't China a third world country back in the 80s and 70s?
I don't know if they were third world, but I mean, they were what you'd call a developing nation, right? Yeah, I mean, even today, they're not exactly a first world country either. But the term first world is really just based in absurdity, because they only consider countries that are in the West first world countries. They would never, besides maybe Japan, right?
Thank you for
I think that's
that.
like the one exception. but let's face it. Well, let's face it. Japan is America Part 2, right? I mean. Our influence in their country is
yeah, but they 90%. Might be doing it better. Look at their GDP.
Oh, they're definitely, well, yes and no. They don't need our help anymore. In fact, I was listening to this the other day. It's like we have no reason to even have Marine Corps bases there anymore. Like the Japanese army is actually far more powerful than we could ever expect ourselves to be over there. And if China were to invade Korea or Taiwan, Japan would be the first on the scene, and they could take out the Chinese no problem. Because the problem with China, they're a great economic force, but their army is terrible.
Yeah, they're not battle tested. They've actually never really been to war and actually had to war.
Exactly. and Japan.
They've watched a lot of it on TV.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they are a bit of a fortress. It would be like, chipping away at a big giant. They have the Great Wall of China, right? But it would be basically like chipping at the walls of a giant fortress. But once you do finally get through, they're screwed, and Japan is perfectly capable of doing that.
Well, India used to like us. They let us in.
Yeah, right. So we actually have no business being in Japan. They could definitely take care of themselves. It's extremely scary if we were to ever lose Japan, because their base.
Is our treaty still active with Japan from World War?
I believe so. I mean, we still got our base there. So obviously, if they did just decide to go to war with China, we'd be there too.
Anyways.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if they don't want us there, I mean, they don't want us there now, honestly.
But we're still there. The redheaded stepchild.
But we're still there. We have no business being there, but we're still there. But they definitely are more than capable of taking care of themselves over there. And it would be extremely scary if they decided to say, screw it. You know what? We're backing off the dollar and buying the yuan. It would be extremely scary of them doing that. Will they do that? Probably not, because the Japanese hate the Chinese probably more than anybody in the world.
Well, they're already trying to move a little on their own anyway. For example, they They just really launched their own Bitcoin called Jasmine Coin, and it's really been giving me some profits now. So it's like it's moving right now actually. So it's they really don't need us, like you said.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
We're gonna be
they
there
don't.
anyway.
We will obviously, you know. And so when this war with China happens, I mean, Japan will be a big tool for that. A big help, like they'll basically be the make it or break it part of it all, really, depending on how much they decide to go for it. But obviously, China invading Taiwan, if that were to happen, you know, that threatens Japan more than anybody, because they're pretty close to Taiwan, and it's not far from Taiwan. If
That
Taiwan
they also have
were
a lot going on with the semiconductor industry.
Yes, exactly, and they don't want to lose that either, you know. So yeah, so there's a lot to be thought about with a war with China. The biggest, scariest thing that's going on that people are barely talking about is that China and Russia have unofficially become allies, and that is more terrifying than any of the things we've talked about tonight, because with Russia and China combined, which has never happened before, it's pretty much the reason why we won the Cold War, because they didn't do that. It basically, especially with the way our economy is right now, we can't even afford a war, you know, a full-fledged World War II type war. We can afford these dumbass wars with Afghanistan and Iraq and whatever we do, right? But if we're talking every man, woman, and child, you know, dedicate themselves to the war effort type of war, we can't afford that. We are completely screwed in that aspect. Not only that, but the war, if World War III is to happen, they're saying that it's going to happen in the Arctic. And we are definitely underprepared for that. Like, both China and Russia have tanks that are capable of breaking ice. And there's a reason for that. Russia's right now working on a road through the Arctic so they can have access to the Arctic Sea with all the untapped oil and natural gases that are over there. You know, they're working on that. We're far behind technology to take them on that.
But if they get to the oil and the natural gases first, why do we care?
Well, I mean, a good Russian economy is an economy to be feared. You know, that's why we've been sanctioning them, because we're afraid. We are.
We don't want another country to be doing well.
Well, we don't want a country to do better than us. You know, and if a country were to do, if say Russia and China were actually to get their economies to surpass us, which will not take much these days, right? If the American dollar is only based on one thing, and that is
our word.
That is our word, and the value that people have confidence in the American dollar. If China and Russia were able to say, hey, countries, we'll charge you way less if you now buy your oil in yuan or buy your oil in rubles. Because how our American dollars work, Pops alluded to it way earlier. He said that the American dollar is based on oil, and that is true. How the UK and Europe and South America and a lot of countries buy their oils, they have to buy American dollars first
in order to purchase oil.
And then they buy oil.
It's
so
a national
if
currency
that were
or a worldwide currency.
Worldwide standard, exactly.
I'm pretty sure the U.S. dollar is accepted in every country in the world.
It is for the most part. I mean, you probably maybe some of the countries that hate us, maybe not, but yeah. I mean, maybe not everywhere, but 90% of the world for sure. You know, even in Russia, right? Even the Russians accept American dollars, right? Even China too. Obviously, China's our biggest fan of the American dollar, but they're trying to make themselves the biggest fan of the yuan. You know. And I guess rightfully so. From a Chinese perspective, you want to be the world power. You want to have the power that the United States has had for the last 100 years, you know, or almost 100 years. But if that were to happen, I mean, yeah, the dynamic shifts really dramatically. And now, and of course, for our sake, for the United States' sake, we don't want them to get there, because that means our economy is based off somebody else's and not our own. And that basically changes American life as we know it for the worst. You know, we're able to live above their
country.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying that we didn't make mistakes, and I'm not saying that there are better ways to do it, but I'm just saying that here's the reality, and here's the fear that that is coming to us. You know, and it's not conspiracy. This is all actually current events. It's not even conspiracy, really.
It's not conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy fact.
Yes, exactly. It's no coincidence that TikTok has become a huge thing. It's a Chinese run application, and they control the algorithm. So you know what Chinese teenagers are exposed to on TikTok from just naturally from the algorithm? Videos about engineering, videos about mathematics, and what does the algorithm give to us? All right, stupid dancing videos and all this transgender nonsense. Yes, stupid challenges and all this transgender nonsense. The transgender nonsense has to be something that maybe the Chinese didn't start, because that started from a man named John Money, who was a terrible human being, a pedophile, and a Frankenstein scientist. What I mean by that is he conducted terrible experiments on children to get the result, to force the results that he wanted to get, and that didn't even work. But he forced it enough for them to make him proclaimed in the medical community as opposed to rejected. And the same goes for the guy who created the lobotomy, right? He got a Nobel Peace Prize for the lobotomy, and then they realized this is barbaric and terrible. What are we doing to people? And people are starting to see that with puberty blockers and stuff like that now. Hey, subject I kind of avoided all night. So here's my soapbox, right? But anyway, I think the Chinese have definitely doubled down on making sure that this is the number one thing that people are exposed to in the United States and the Western world, because it's happening in Canada. It's terribly happened. It's happened in Canada far worse than it's happening in the United States. It's happening in the UK. It's happened in Finland and all those European nations that are supposedly more like, more better than us as far as social issues go, and so. And those countries have realized the mistake, and they're actually backing away from the puberty blockers and stuff like that now. Whereas the United States and Canada are doubling down on this shit. And I mean, Canada's released laws where it's like you can go to jail just by misgendering someone. You can get your kids taken away from you if you don't affirm them. There was a case where a guy was divorced.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead. I was going to chime in.
Yeah. So yeah, he's divorced from his wife, and so his daughter wants to come out as trans, and he's like, no, hell no. And his wife was actually able to get the court to not only send him to jail, but he's never allowed to see his daughter again. And similar things are happening in the United States now. You now have states, I believe it's Colorado, saying, hey, if puberty blockers are illegal in your state, come over here. We'll put you in a homeless shelter and get you what you need. Run away from your parents. We'll protect you from your parents. So yeah, I mean, it's a distraction, but it's also a really bad issue, and China is definitely funding it all, right? From TikTok, and probably paying some of these politicians through probably inadvertently, like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of way, right? It's like they pay someone who pays someone who pays someone who pays a politician, right? And so that way politicians may or may not know that the money's coming from China when they're being supported by, say, like Nabisco, right?
Yeah, because it's all been funneled through different places. Here. Speaking of Canada and Justin Trudeau, have you heard about this conspiracy on the screen?
No, go ahead.
Fidel Castro and Justin Trudeau's mom actually spent quite a bit of time together.
Wow. Yeah. that explains everything with
Do
Trudeau,
they
with everything with
look
Trudeau.
similar?
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe he's a bastard son.
It might be genetics. I don't know.
Could be.
I'm just guessing. I did want to go ahead and mention something real quick from Neostar that he mentioned earlier before we get too far off from Marxism and all the other isms. Is Marxism is a philosophy of compliance and entitlement, and I think I have never heard it explained better. So thank you, Neostar, for that.
That's perfect. That's a perfect explanation. Yeah. Philosophy, complacency, and entitlement, which is exactly what's happening in the country right now. This transgender nonsense is basically a Marxist philosophy. I demand you do what I say and comply to me, or else I am entitled to get these puberty blockers. I am entitled to have this my way. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's the fuckery of it all.
It is. It is.
Yes, a lot of the American companies are overseas, Neostar. Yes, you are correct. They're being financed from overseas, and nobody even pays attention to who owns what companies, which is when the capitalist system starts to break down because it's been hacked. But capitalism is, in my opinion, now be open to disagree, but capitalism is the way you fix a lot of this. You see, if a company is doing something it's not supposed to be doing, like not giving you a good product, making you sick, doing something stupid,
you stop paying.
You stop buying it, and that company goes away.
And Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch is feeling that right now.
Oh yeah, so like Jeremy's Chocolate, and now Jeremy's got his own beer company. That's a guy from the Daily Wire that is just capitalizing on this whole anti-woke movement, and it's absolutely hilarious. I applaud him.
And it's what is it? Far right beer or something?
Yeah, something like that. It's ridiculous, and I love his commercials. They are awesome. They remind me of like the Man Soap commercials from back in the day. Yes,
exactly.
Speaking of which, I need to do a Man Soap commercial for First World. That would be funny,
right? Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Exactly.
No, not one little bit. The apple didn't fall too far from that tree. It might still be sitting there in the orchard.
Exactly. So, I think we're gonna have to wrap up now. I gotta get inside.
2.5 hours not long enough.
Yeah. So 2.5 hours is good, man. This has been an awesome show, guys. Maybe we'll have to do this once a month because it's been a lot of fun.
I think this might be down. We might have to do this. Let's see how many platforms we can get kicked off of. Let's see if we can do it.
Yes.
Let's see I don't know if we've actually been kicked off. So maybe next time we should go harder and see if we can get kicked off.
Oh well, man.
I won't know until the live stream ends, and then I get an email saying your video has been blocked because of this.
Oh, so we get an email about that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna look for that email.
Yeah, the first time I had Jem on, we talked about COVID, and that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm. I forgot what the argument was. We were talking
about the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, my response was like, that's what they blocked us off of? They didn't hear all the other stuff?
Yeah. That's the one thing they did, not all the other fucked up things we talked about.
Yeah.
Exactly, because we talked about a lot of what we talked about tonight, we talked about back then. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was the vaccine and COVID mentioning that was what they blocked us for.
Wow. Misinformation, because the vaccine could never possibly harm anybody and cause any kind
of never harm anyone,
or anything like that. And by the way, Pfizer has like the 6th jab available now. If you just want to go down and get a booster shot for the variant double helix.
Yeah, you just keep pumping yourself full of poison, guys. That never. That never works out. Never works out in a bad way or anything.
I trust the government too much. They'll never do that to me.
Oh, those are the most terrifying words in the English
definitely
language.
My community.
They are. They are.
I'm here. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. That is the most terrifying sentence in the English language.
Yep, absolutely.
Sounds like Terminator.
All right. Well, we should wrap it up, but we'll end on this note. In Fallout 4, there's this company, Vault Tech, right? And this guy comes over and he says, "Hey, you've been selected to go into our bunker in case the bombs drop." Mm-hmm. And then 5 minutes later, the bombs drop. Oh no! Hey, get to the bunker. Good thing you signed up. And then turns out all the bunkers that those Vault Tech company created were actually made for terrible human experiments.
Yeah, experiments. Yeah. That's the beautiful
and it just feels like an allegory for what's going on with the vaccine, man, and the transgender stuff for that matter.
We're gonna see 30 years.
Yeah.
Kansas City
we'll
shuffle.
find
if we
out.
can make it absurdity enough, then maybe even the absurd would sound fair.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's happened. It's exactly what's happened. So on that note, guys, we will be.
I wonder if non-vax sperm is worth more.
So,
I mean,
I wonder if there's going to be a black market for non-vax sperm.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. I can't wait. Boy,
probably. Well, unfortunately, I did get the vax because my eyes weren't open till afterwards. Unfortunately, so I won't be able to sell in the black market at least. But
okay, you'll be missed.
Yeah. I know, but I haven't got boosters, so I mean, who knows? Maybe the whole point is to keep on pumping the poison in because maybe it wears off after a while or something. That's the
your body
positive outlook for it.
Up and it's going to fix itself.
Yeah, something like that.
If we get out of its own way, we'll be surprised what it can actually do.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It is a marvelous machine. But yes, on that note, I will let you close out.
Yes, we will. So yes, but guys, thank you so much for tuning. Thank you for tuning in, Neostar and Pops and everybody else who's watching. Thank you guys for coming on, Doc and Jem. It was a wonderful show. We definitely got to do it again. It's been a blast.
Thank you for letting me premiere my puppet. This is going to work fine.
Yes, absolutely. It's an honor, man. It's an honor to be the first to see it first on my show, guys. You've seen the puppet first on my show, so it's an honor.
The catalyst.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and everything. So, everyone, thank you so much for all the support we've got and coming on tonight. And that is the end right now. And thank you, and we will see you again next time. Bye now. Where's the outro? There it is.